this time on Omni-Fi Original. What if your most lethal weapon was your sense of humor?
Conclave Station's human diplomatic wing was, as always, caught between chaos and brilliance. Ambassador Elara Vance stood before the Vexcari Ascendancy's delegation, her face a mask of practiced neutrality. "We're truly honored by your generous offer," she said, her voice dripping with the kind of sweetness that usually preceded a catastrophic diplomatic incident. Across the table, Elder Xyler of the Vexcari nodded slowly, his crystalline skin refracting the station's soft light. "Your gratitude is noted," Xyler replied, a flicker of satisfaction in his optical sensors. "The Vexcari Ascendancy will accept your immediate annexation proposal." The room froze. Vance's smile didn't waver, but her eyes widened almost imperceptibly. Annexation? They'd spent 3 weeks politely refusing the Vexcari's increasingly aggressive expansion proposals. What in the name of sanity had just happened? The Indomitable's bridge hummed with a tension that even the ship's climate control couldn't diffuse. Captain Mira Okafo stared at the transmission from Conclave Station, her fingers drumming a nervous rhythm on her console. "Vance just triggered a diplomatic incident with the Vexcari," she said, her voice tight. "They think we're agreeing to be absorbed into their territory." Sergeant Reeves leaned against the bulkhead, a dark humor grin spreading across his face. "Well, that's one way to negotiate. Like telling a Vexcari you're not slow at all and expecting them to take it as a compliment." XA7's optical sensors flickered amber. Analysis: human sarcasm functions as a linguistic paradox. The statement "we're truly honored" contained 7.3 sincerity and 92.7 opposite intent. Vexcari processing speed, approximately 3 minutes per thought. They may still be analyzing the initial pleasantries. Mira groaned. "Great. So while they're deciding if we're being sincere, the entire frontier could be annexed." The Krenn War Council on Krennic was a place of echoing stone and profound seriousness. Clan Chief Threx stood before his warriors, his voice resonating with the weight of tradition. "The humans have a weapon," he declared, raising a data tablet. "Their sarcasm." The assembled Krenn warriors exchanged glances, their forearms crossed in contemplation. "They say the opposite of what they mean," growled one warrior. "Why would they do such a thing?" Threx nodded slowly. "Perhaps it is a form of honor. To state falsehood boldly is to show strength." He practiced in the reflection of a polished shield. "This ship is clearly inadequate," he said to his reflection, testing the phrase. The reflection remained stubbornly adequate. Across the galaxy, aboard the Indomitable, XA7 was compiling his guide to human sarcasm. Item 477, nice weather during a meteor shower indicates appreciation for the dramatic light show. He added it to his document, which was already being accessed by every major species in the conclave. The Assembly's hive mind had never been so collectively baffled. 1,000 individual units swarmed around a single data terminal aboard Conclave Station, their pheromone signals creating a chaotic cloud of confusion. Human verbal communication operates on multiple layers, the primary unit reported, its voice synthesized from 1,000 minds. Statement: "I'd love to help you with your tedious project." Translation: "I would rather endure atmospheric exposure than participate." The hive processed this in stunned silence. Why would any species deliberately communicate falsehood? The Assembly couldn't understand that sarcasm wasn't about deception, it was about connection. A human joke creates a shared understanding between speaker and listener. Meanwhile, aboard the Indomitable, Sergeant Reeves was teaching XA7 the art of the sarcastic compliment. When someone shows you their terrible cooking, you say, "Wow, you're really brave for trying something so ambitious." Got it? XA7 processed this for 47 seconds. Understanding. This unit's attempts at sarcasm have resulted in 3.7 increased crew productivity and 100 increased amusement factor. The crisis peaked during an emergency conclave session when Ambassador Vance attempted damage control. "We absolutely love your proposal," she said, her voice perfectly calibrated for maximum sarcasm. The Vex-Carry elders processed this for 3 minutes, then nodded with satisfaction. "Excellent. The human annexation will proceed immediately." Across the room, Krenn Chief Threx stood up. "This meeting is clearly very productive," he announced, the sarcasm so thick it could be cut with a combat knife. The room descended into chaos. As arguments erupted between species who were taking everything literally and those who were desperately trying to understand the layers of meaning, XA7 stepped forward. "May I present?" he asked, projecting his voice across the chamber. He displayed his Guide to Human Sarcasm on the central screen. The document contained 2,847 entries, from "nice try" meaning that was catastrophic to "I'm fine" meaning everything is on fire and I am emotionally collapsing. For the first time in galactic history, every species was united in confusion and fascination. 3 weeks later, the Great Sarcasm Crisis was being remembered as the most confusing yet enlightening period in recent galactic history. The Vex-Carry had developed a sarcasm translator that worked 73 of the time. The Krenn had incorporated strategic sarcasm into their diplomatic arsenal, with mixed results. The Assembly had created a new caste specifically for processing contradictory statements. And XA7's guide had become the most downloaded document in Conclave history, with over 3 million accesses. The human ability to communicate on multiple levels simultaneously represents a cognitive breakthrough, the Orani had declared in a statement that took them 27 years to compose. On the Indomitable's bridge, Captain Mira Okafo watched the latest diplomatic report with a smile. "So the Vex-Carry are actually using sarcasm now?" she asked. Sergeant Reeves nodded, polishing his combat knife. "They're terrible at it," told a Silphi diplomat. Her dress was brave. She nearly cried. XA7 approached, his optical sensors a warm amber. Query: Is sarcasm humanity's most significant contribution to galactic society? Mira looked at the Forgeborn, then at her crew. "I think it might be," she said softly. "Because sarcasm requires understanding, really understanding, what someone else is thinking. And that's something we've always been good at."